So it's a Tales from the Shed. Tales from the Shed. Tales from the Shed with your host, Des Easy. Morning folks, how you doing? It's me. How's it going? You all good today? I am. Here we are, another episode of Tales from the Shed, and in this episode I'm just gonna babble on needlessly about stuff. I quite recently made, if you're a follower to the YouTube channel and you watched my last video, you would have seen me knocking up a pack frame, not a Roycroft pack frame or anything like that. I literally kind of just tried to utilise the materials that were out in the woods that I had at that time. I actually used a piece of white poplar as kind of like my A-frame, as it were, and then I connected some maple and that sort of stuff to it, and elder as it goes. But what I did do, and then obviously I packed up my a lot of my stuff from my day sack, wrapped it in a poncho, and then connected it onto the toggle system that I made for the pack frame. But what I did do is when I come home yesterday, I sort of sat in the shed, made up the toggles a bit better, made up a new pack frame with some hazel that I got, bound them up with some decent cordage, and sort of this is the result. I've actually put some better straps on it. This was a piece of old seat belt that I got off one of my mate's sons. And what I've also done at the bottom there, I've actually used a couple of carabiners, and they're the lightweight ones, and they're simply the idea is that once this is on my body, I can literally just pass both the straps through there, and then pass it through that one, through the second one, and we've got a nice little belt system there. So I'm quite pleased with the result. I'm actually going to go and do a little trip out with it, I think. I actually used some hazel. The poplar frame is still the same, and then I've used a couple of hazel ones, one for the back brace, and then two just to make up on the frame a bit better. And then I've got obviously the toggles on there for obviously connecting my pack, my bag, whatever it is that I'm going to use. I basically used some I think that's number 12 bank line, just to bind up the beams onto it. And then with the actual toggles, what I did was I actually connected them to the frame with constrictor knots, which you'll see in one of the earlier videos, which is literally like a clove hitch. And then the knot I used to actually connect onto the toggles was kind of like a fisherman's knot, or a noose knot, if you like a hangman's noose, to connect the toggles onto. And my first impression is that it came out pretty well. I mean, when I made it, when I was actually out in the woods, I actually just put some paracord on there, just to show the system of it made up. But obviously if I was going to be carrying that over a long sort of distances and such like, and then obviously you need something a little bit better. I mean, obviously with a pack frame like that, I wouldn't want to be carrying too much heavy load onto it anyway. I mean, simply, just carrying the necessities, as it were. Maybe what I'll do is, I've got a blanket, I'll make up a blanket roll, and utilise the frame to obviously make a sort of a camp system where I actually go out and do an overnight. It could even be a potential challenge, couldn't it? But yeah, I'll endeavour to use that. I might even use it on the next sort of YouTube video or something. Just take that out instead of using the Steuben or my Carrymore Hydro 30 rucksack. So with all the carving that's been going on, when I was out the other day, I managed to get some nice bits of not so much that bit, no, because that's different wood, but I got some bits of cherry. And if anyone's carved with cherry, it's absolutely lovely. It's a nice wood to carve with. Get a nice colour out of it, and also it's just a nice sort of hard wood to carve with to make your spoons and such like. But this stuff was all I could get hold of, this kind of smaller diameter sort of wood. And then what I did was I made myself another canoe spoon. I really like this one because, well, I like them all, you know, you like them all, don't you? And this one will get used, I dare say. What I did was on this one, I actually lit the jet boil, and I placed the front of the handle on the jet boil on the flame, and as you can see there how it's come out, it's actually sort of burnt around the bowl, so or on the edge of the bowl near where it meets the handle, and it's come out really good. I'm quite chuffed with the result, really. And then I just attached a tiny bit of bank line to it, made a twisted cobra stitch, only a small one. And then again, that's a nice sort of flat spoon, could go in my pocket or just, you know, go in my brew kit or whatever. That's what I like about these spoons, actually, the fact that they're quite flat, and obviously you can make them any size. This one is obviously relatively small in my hand, and yeah, simple as. So yeah, that's the other thing that I did. And then only the other thing that I did, I suppose I'm just kind of repeating myself from the last video, was the net I'm starting to make. Nothing special. I've literally got some I've got a roll of this cordage, and what I've done was I didn't use the needle. I'm still yet to learn how to use that needle. I can't remember, I've only used it once, and I need to sort of maybe even read up on it, or go and maybe watch some YouTube videos. And this one, what I did was, in the video I actually used the bottom of the pack frame. So what I've done was I turned it up the other way, so it was upside down. I connected the paracord across there, and then what I did was, let's put that down so it don't sort of fall over. And then what I did was I suspended the paracord, you know, across the frame, and then I simply just tied a series of prusik knots into the horizontal bit of paracord, and then the rest of them were just attached with to make that net design. I literally just tied the rest with overhand knots. So I'm yet to finish that. Alright, so that's the sort of projects I've been doing. Mainly outside. I haven't really been doing, apart from sort of like the well, saying that, I mean, you know, the pack frame I finished off properly yesterday in the shed, and in the spoon I obviously carved a bit in the shed. So yeah, I'm probably talking crap really. I've probably done a bit of, I've been doing a bit in the shed as well. Alright, I'm still liking some of the spoons that are coming out that people are making. I love some of the elegant shapes that people sort of aspire with their spoons. There's some absolutely fantastic stuff, really nice. I need to sort of try and put some elegance into my spoons, but once they're made I throw them in my box. I don't use them. I've got some more birch bark. I didn't realise that I had some birch bark that I purchased from Amazon some time ago, and it's quite thick, and as you're probably aware, I've been mucking around with making little birch bark containers and such like with the stuff that that hails from the UK. But I've got some new birch bark that I'm not sure which country it's from, but I plan on I'm now going to plan on making a couple of containers using the thicker stuff. And I think using the thicker stuff I'm going to have to sort of look at actually cutting the bits out and slipping it in, because it's that much thicker as opposed to with the thinner stuff from the UK. So that's a bit of a nice little learning curve for me. Nice little project that I'll be getting on with possibly today. I see that Lars Felt has just brought out a new book, which is on order. I've ordered mine from Woodland Ways, I think it was, so I've got that book to the Scandinavian way or whatever it is that's coming out. I've already seen it on Instagram. Some people have already purchased it and received a copy, so I'm yet to receive mine. I dare say it'll be a good read, being that it comes from Lars. I'm currently reading Bushcraft 101 by Dave Canterbury. Yeah, I'm kind of just reading it as a book more than a reference book. If I'm brutally honest, it's a good book for a total beginner, but I haven't learned anything from it yet, but I'm still going to read it from cover to cover. I've missed out the navigation chapter. I'm past that stage now. The reason why I'm not reading the navigation chapter is really sort of more of a personal thing. The Americans tend to do stuff slightly different, sort of use different phrases and such like to us. So what I'd rather do is to sort of like, because I'm quite a simpleton, rather than confuse the matter, I would rather just keep the way I do things with navigation fresh in my mind. And if I'm going to learn stuff with navigation, I'd rather learn it from someone who's from the UK as opposed to somewhere like America, because they obviously sometimes use different phrases and such like. So but yeah, good book all the same. Yeah, I'm currently reading that one, so when that one comes, I've still got another I've still got Birds and Bullets to read by Jeff McMullen as well, which is a book that he wrote quite recently, and I need to get into that one as well. So you know, my list of books is kind of going down now, because I'm starting to get through bits and pieces, and obviously topping up the stack of getting new books to read and such like. So yeah, where I've been making all these birch bark containers and such like, the amount of birch bark that I've got, you know, sort of like spare stuff, where I've been scraping off the outer slivers and such like, and I'm just, rather than throwing it away, I'm just sticking it into little, you know, into tinder pouches. And I mean, when I last went out in the last video, I literally used one of these little transparent pencil cases, filled it up with the birch bark, and then when I got out into the woods, I literally just chucked the whole lot onto the bottom of my fire onto my base of my fire, and then literally just sparked it up with a ferro rod just to get rid of it, really, just to use it up, rather than just, you know, throw it away or stick it in the, you know, in your garden waste bin. So I'm sort of using up the material. I like to plug the badges still, merchandise. There's still a number of badges left for purchase, and stickers if people are interested. Again, all of the information will be in the description part of the on YouTube, in the description below. Also, my ebook, there'll be a link to my ebook that I typed or wrote some time ago. And then finally the podcast seems to have quietened down, maybe because it's been a bit boring for some people, or they just don't want to hear my mundane voice mumbling on in a podcast. I don't know. The first numbers were really good, but for some reason of late, the later episodes have they've gone right down. Maybe people are not getting around to listening to them, and so on and so forth. But you know, I appreciate your feedback. I am getting feedback off people via Instagram and such like, and emails, people saying they're liking the podcast. But obviously it'd be nice to get your opinions as well, you know, for whatever reason, you know, just to sort of see how it is out there, and if you can possibly share your podcast, let your friends and you know, if you've got friends that are suffering a bit of sleep, you know, they can't get off to sleep very well or something like that, then you know, point them in the direction of my podcast, and then hopefully it will help them get them off to sleep a bit better than using night nurse or drinking a bottle of vodka or something like that, you know what I mean? So so there it is, folks. All right, so this is the episode for Tales from the Shed. All right, okay, so please take care, please stay safe. All right, let us know if you're reading any books, what little projects you've been getting up to. Been getting some sort of feedback from people saying they've been making leather crafts and bags and such like, which is great, and they've been getting a little bit of inspiration from watching some of the videos on my channel, which is brilliant, and also some of the stuff I'm putting up on Instagram. So there it is, folks. All right, so thanks for watching. Please take care, stay safe. Des Cattys signing out, and I'll see you on the flip side. Take care, folks. See you later. Mwah. Love you all.